Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for February 2022. Before I get into the reading, this is, of course, a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. So as always, I'm going to take a deep dive into the numerology for the collective for the month of February. I highly recommend not skipping this part. This is why I don't put timestamps in these videos, because the numerology part of this reading is the bread and butter. This is what's sort of driving the energy. So please listen to this part. You're more than welcome to fast forward if you choose to, but just so you know, this is important. Okay. Then I will dive into the energy of each individual life path number. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so February is an 8 universal cycle. What's really interesting about this, so 8 energy is sort of governs the material plane. So think money, resources, power dynamics. Why this is so interesting that this is occurring, that this 8 cycle is occurring in February 2022 is because in astrology, we have the Pluto return for the United States going exact, I believe, on February 22nd, 2022. So that's 2222022. So that's a lot of twos, a lot of balance energy. So with this Pluto return for the US, no matter where you are in the world, what sort of happens in the US does have some sort of effect on the rest of the world. That's just sort of the way it is. And so this Pluto return is incredibly significant. And it only happens, I think, your Pluto return, I think, only happens once like every 248 years or something like that. It's we humans never see their Pluto return, but like companies, estates, countries will see a Pluto return, and it can be significant. And so I would highly, highly suggest, if you haven't already done so, find an astrologer and that you like, that you resonate with, and watch their videos on the upcoming Pluto return for the US, because you are going to feel the effects of that in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so that's why this is just kind of mind-blowing that we have this 8 universal cycle that's centered around money, resources, power dynamics, and then we have this Pluto return coming in February for the United States. And again, Pluto is all about death, transformation, rebirth. This could be the start of a major overhaul when it comes to money, resources, control, transfer of power, and so on, to sort of function more effectively. So this, of course, will take many, many years. This isn't something that happens on the day or that happens immediately, but it's the start of a transformation. It's the start of a death and a rebirth, a start of a major overhaul and rebalancing. And so I think that we're going to see that play out on the global scale. And we can start to see things changing and the dynamics changing because of that. Because anytime Pluto is involved, shit is about to get real. That's just, it's for our highest good, but it gets intense. It gets intense pretty fast, and things that aren't working will basically be plowed over, and then it's time to transform and have that rebirth. So it's an intense energy, and that will be with us for a while as far as Pluto is concerned. With the 8 energy, we have this cycle in February. And so this brings it into the individual dynamic, right? So we will feel this not only collectively, but individually. Whereas the Pluto will be more collective, the Pluto energy for the Pluto return for the US. Okay, so for February, for the collective and for the individual, again, February is an 8 universal cycle, and we can see the emphasis really going to be placed strongly on the physical plane. So especially when it comes to money matters and how we make money, how we circulate money, our relationship with money, and so on. The same with resources. If we have lessons to learn around 8 energy, we could see challenges or transformations come in around finances, distribution of wealth, resources, how we handle those resources. Remember, we are in a 6 universal year. So the emphasis throughout the year will be on the greater community and how the individual actions affect the whole. So this month, in February, is an opportunity to sort of take a deeper, more serious look at how we are using resources, how they're being distributed and circulated, starting with ourselves, within our own homes. So this is ultimately about finding a healthy balance where we aren't falling into some toxic level of an extreme. Sort of living in excess has its own consequences, good and bad, just like living in deprivation does. So where is your healthy balance between the two, and how can you contribute to the redistribution of wealth and resources to keep that energy flowing? That's going to be a question we need to be asking ourselves. This will all be emphasized on the global stage, as I mentioned, as well as individually. That's really important to keep in mind. So we are individually going to feel the effects of this 8 universal cycle in some way, shape, or form. So really use this cycle to evaluate your finances, your resources, and determine whether you are feeling centered and in a healthy place with this energy, or whether you have fallen into an extreme, right? So in an extreme, work with the energy of this 8 cycle to begin to find ways to get back into a state of equilibrium when it comes to your own personal finances, resources, and relationships with those energies. That's going to be really, really important. And I think you'll see it highlighted where it is that there needs some work or some redistribution, or some where there needs to be, again, just sort of like your attention, your awareness. This 8 cycle is also emphasizing personal power and inner strength. So where we're going to be, again, seeing on the global stage that power dynamics and redistribution of power and all of that, on the personal side of things, it's going to be emphasizing personal power and inner strength. So if there are any areas within your life where you are giving your power away, or where you are easily influenced by an external source, someone telling you what you should do and you doing that, you may be faced with some pretty powerful truths and challenges to help to assist you in reclaiming that power and becoming much more decisive and autonomous when it comes to your own life and the choices that you make for yourself. Nobody else on this planet is responsible for our life. So if there are any aspects of our journey where someone is trying to dictate or do something for us, something that we're fully capable of doing for ourselves, then this 8 energy will be pushing us to take on the responsibility of the direction of our own life. So I hear people say sometimes, I did this because so-and-so told me to, and it didn't work out, so it's their fault and I'm mad now, or I'm upset, or we're not friends any longer because I took it personally, or whatever. That scenario is an example of giving your power away and then blaming someone else for the consequences of your own actions. We have the final say when it comes to our decisions and our choices, whether we were influenced by another to make those choices or if we made them through our own decisiveness. Either way, if those choices work out or they don't, it's our responsibility to take ownership of the result, to be empowered to either celebrate the success or take responsibility for what didn't work out and clean up our own mess. So 8 energy isn't about passing the buck and passing the blame. It's about taking ownership and responsibility of one's own circumstances, picking ourselves up when we fall, and then finding ways to not keep making the same missteps so we don't keep falling in the same direction. And so this 8 energy is going to help to sort of emphasize where it may be within our life that we're doing that and where we can clean that up a little bit and start taking that responsibility. So if there are any areas within your life where you have knowingly or even unknowingly been giving your power away, this 8 cycle will sort of shed light on that area and make it very difficult to ignore until you make the decision and commit to stepping back into your own magnificence and your own power. This 8 energy is all about self-empowerment, not martyrdom. There's a difference. Remember, we can't do it for someone else without taking their power away. That's martyrdom. Support, yes, we can support other people, but we can't try to do it for them. Because again, it's in the doing for the person and not believing that they have the capability of doing it that we're actually taking their power away. We are detracting from them, right? From their own essence. Supporting someone to assist them and sort of showing them or reminding them of their power and allowing them or teaching them to do it for themselves is so much more powerful, right? That is empowerment. So I believe we will see power struggles play out on the global stage under this energy, but it also serves a bigger purpose to sort of eventually bring the power back to the people. So remember, this cycle will help to highlight where the imbalances of power lie so that the equilibrium can eventually be reached. And as always, it's what we choose to do with this energy and how we choose to participate with it that ultimately makes the difference in how the energy works for us. So this is going to be an interesting month. This is, like I said, with this Pluto dynamic happening for the US and hence globally. And then we've got this 8 energy coming in. This could be a very intense month. This can be a month of transformation when it comes to, again, money, power, resources, or it can be a month where you start to see the sort of start reaping the rewards for some of the efforts that you've put in. Maybe you see an influx of money coming in, resources. Maybe you feel like you're stepping into your power. This can be like you stepping on the other side of that transformation. Maybe you've already been doing this work, and so you're fully stepping into it and sort of reaping the rewards of taking the reins back within your own life. So you can certainly see that show up as well. But for others, if you're struggling with, again, giving your power away or struggling with falling into the extremes of something within the physical realm, then this month might be a little bit more about the transformations and the challenges to help you to overcome those situations and to, again, regain what is rightfully yours, your power, your resources, and to circulate those resources and that money. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the life path number. Life path number 6. So I pulled an animal spirit card for you all, and you got wombat spirit. And wombat's message, and wombats, they live in Australia. If you're not familiar with wombat, they're these cute, roly-poly, fluffy little creatures. Really sweet. Anyway, wombat's message is be at home. And so for you all, I'm really getting this energy around, I don't know, I'm just hearing like this message of be comfortable in your own skin, like be appreciative of your body and like all that it does for you, and how you treat your body, how you treat this vehicle, how you treat your soul, how you treat your mind, all of those things, like the real holistic side of our being, our home, right? It's really the energy that's coming through here. So is there some part of yourself that you need to tend to and care for more than you've sort of been doing? Body, mind, or spirit. And sorry, I have a dog in here and she's kind of sneezing. So if you hear weird noises, that's what that is. Anyway, so I feel like this is really like you just really being comfortable in who you are and how you express yourself and how you're showing up in the world and how you are setting healthy boundaries, whatever the case may be, in sort of how you are working through self-defeating thought processes, however it is for you that you are working on yourself or accepting yourself holistically, body, mind, spirit. I feel like Wombat is just really encouraging you to take a step back and spend some time with yourself and really appreciate all that this vehicle does for you, like all that your body, mind, spirit sort of does for you so that you can have your experience in this lifetime. So I don't know, that's just really what's coming through. For some of you, it just might be a call that you need to spend more time at home, that, and sort of fall into like that more receptive stillness mode. So whatever calls to you, whatever makes sense for you. But definitely getting that feeling around like not being apologetic for how you express yourself, how you show up in the world. And, I mean, I've read this before where it's like, and it's a great point. It's like the only sort of person that we will be with every day, every hour of this entire existence is ourself, right? So it's like when you look in the mirror, you're going to see yourself. This is the body. This is the being that you will be with for the rest of your life, right? So appreciate it, love it, allow it to express itself in the way that you want to express yourself, all of those things. So things like that may be coming up for you around this month that you just want to pay attention to, and you just want to like honor this vehicle, this body holistically that moves you through this existence, this experience. Okay, so looking at the month ahead for you all, there's definitely some things here I think that maybe more mental challenges than actual like physical challenges. So some emotional challenges as well. Beginning of the month, there's definitely something here where you're feeling restricted. You feel like you want to break free. You feel like things aren't working for you. They're working against you. But really the energy that's surfacing here is indicating that it's something that is a self-imposed restriction, self-imposed roadblock. Whether it's something that you're creating subconsciously or something that you're consciously creating. But there's something here that's holding you back, but it's not something external to you. It may feel external to you because often it's like if we set those restrictions in place mentally, then we start to call in those experiences that will reflect that back to us, right? So it's like, if it's like, okay, well, I'm never going to have a partner, right? Like a romantic partner, then that's what we're looking for. We're looking for those roadblocks. We are calling that experience into us, right? And so that's what we're looking for. So guess what? That's what we're going to find. The perfect partner might be right in front of us and keep surfacing, but we have it in our head, I'm not made for love. I'm not meant for a true partnership in this lifetime, whatever the story is that we tell ourselves, right? So we're not going to see that person. They're not going to register at the frequency that they need to register at because we're at a different frequency. You see what I'm saying? They could be right there, but we're not going to see them if we have sort of a set belief in mind and we have the sort of tunnel vision. So that's what I mean by it's like self-imposed. Whatever this roadblock is. So if there's something that you keep hitting a roadblock and it doesn't make logical sense, then it could be that it's a roadblock that you keep creating, that you keep actually putting there. And so again, it's just a matter of recognizing it, being aware of it, and changing the dialogue, like changing the mindset, changing the thought process. And the more that we do that, the more that we sort of recalibrate, right? And like set that frequency to a different frequency, the more that we'll start to see like, oh, I can go this way around this roadblock, or, oh, here's this person that keeps showing up and I didn't notice this about this person, but I really like this about them, or whatever, you know what I mean? And then it just grows and then you get married and have 12 kids or whatever. But again, beginning of the month, there's just going to be an opportunity, I think, for you to take a closer look at where are you imposing restrictions that there don't need to be restrictions. And a lot of times when we do that, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, where we do that will be potentially highlighted, right? Like it's like that's sort of where that adjustment or shift needs to happen. And so I feel like that's where we're going to see that highlighted at the beginning of the month, right? So just pay attention to whatever surfaces, whatever comes in, and sort of, again, spend some time with it, explore it. Why does it keep showing up? Sometimes life happens and it shows up for a reason outside of our own doing, right? But sometimes it's like if there's a story that we keep telling ourselves about ourselves and we start to really believe it, then that's what we're going to see, right? Like that's the experience we are creating. So anyway, And for some reason, like body image is coming in as well. So again, if that's something that's relevant for you, then remember wombat spirit of be at home. Be at home in your own skin, appreciate your own skin, celebrate this body, celebrate this vehicle and all that it does for you. And it's we talk about like loving ourselves, but what if we can just like simply accept ourselves, right? Because loving ourselves is sometimes that's a lifelong journey. It really is. Like it just is. But there's days that we might truly fully love ourselves, but then there's other days that we're gonna like struggle. But if we can find acceptance even through that struggle, then we are winning. We are winning in this journey. And so the acceptance is key. It's like if we can just find acceptance for this experience and this body that we signed up for, then we can get a lot further than we would if we were just constantly beating ourselves up. So I just feel like a lot of this is kind of coming in at the beginning of the month. So just be aware of it and be gentle with yourself, be kind with yourself, and see how you can overcome some of those roadblocks by changing the dialogue. Mid-month, I feel like there's something around home, family situation, potential partnerships, something like that, that's been, or your own body, right? That's been very challenging for you. It's almost felt like you've been like carrying 1,000,000 pounds up a slippery slope. And it just feels like it's been incredibly challenging. I feel like there's really this call mid-month to call in your support team to really be nurtured by other people, because usually as sixes, you're probably the one doing the nurturing. And we're also in a 6 universal cycle this entire year. So you probably are noticing even more that people need you more, right? Or seem to need you more. And I think sometimes 6s can neglect themselves and feel that they don't have time to ask for help because they're too busy helping. So I think it's really important for you to make sure that you understand that you are not meant to be an island and you're not meant to do this journey alone. That's why we're humans. Like, that's why we are like, technically like pack animals, you know what I mean? So, or herd animals, whatever. But we're meant to ask for help when we need it, ask for assistance when we need it, not give that power away and have someone do something for us, but to be able to delegate and ask for what we need and then accept that assistance. And I think that's going to be really important for you. And I'm getting this energy around like partnerships. So if there's something with a partner, whether it's business partner, romantic partner, whatever, where you felt like you've been carrying the load, doing everything, responsible for everything, carrying the burden, ask yourself, have you asked for assistance? Have you had the conversation so that the other person knows that yes, you're doing all these things, but you don't necessarily want to be doing all these things? Because if you haven't had that conversation, the person might be like, wow, they're just taking all this stuff on. Okay, that's cool. But not seeing like you're sort of stepping into martyrdom where it's like, I'm going to do all this stuff because I have to, whatever. And not having that conversation with the person to be like, look, I need some help here. Can you help me? Because I think you might be surprised at the answer. And if you're not, like if that person is not willing to assist and help and sort of contribute and take some of the load off, then maybe that's not the right person, right? Because you don't want to necessarily be with someone who is expecting you to do everything and do everything for them, because that's disempowering to them. So mid-month, you may have an opportunity to have a conversation with people, to express what it is that you need, to understand that it's not necessarily that people are taking advantage of you, but that maybe you're setting yourself up to be taken advantage of, right, without knowing it. And so just have the conversations. Let people know what you need. They're either going to be capable of stepping up or they're not. And that'll lead you into the next conversation. So it's just about having that dialogue and understanding that you are not meant to do it all alone. You are meant to move through this journey feeling supported, like having that support when you need it. You have to make the final decisions. You have to do the final tasks, right? Obviously. But there's support out there. So end of story. There's something here where you feel like overly burdened, like you've been like taking it all on. And I think maybe you might be overlooking that there are people ready and waiting to assist. And so call on those people. And if it's a partner, then again, this is going to lead to a deeper conversation that needs to be had. Otherwise, it's just going to lead to resentment. So end of the month for you all, again, I'm really getting this energy of like there being some kind of imbalance when it comes to relationships, when it comes to money, when it comes to resources, how you're spending money, how you're circulating money, your relationship with money, your relationship with other people, where it just feels imbalanced. Either you're feeling less than or more than those people, right? And also when it comes to resources, money, there's just this imbalance of how you view your resources, how you're spending your resources, your relationship. You see what I'm saying? So, and when it comes to people, there's an imbalance of power here, or a imbalance of perceived power. So there's something here where it's like you're being asked to reclaim your power, step into your power, reclaim your finances. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in deprivation mode, to find a way to come out of that so you can find your equilibrium. You don't want to move into excess because that'll create a whole different slew of issues. But you want to find your equilibrium. And that's the same thing when it comes to the power dynamics. There shouldn't be this feeling of better than, less than for either party, right? It should be seeing eye to eye and collaboration and working together in harmony. And so I just get this feeling like, even if it's just mental and emotional, there's either this feeling of less than, more than, or that is actually happening. And so an adjustment here needs to be made. I get this feeling like really what's coming in really, really strongly is just this feeling of not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough, feeling like you're being taken advantage of. And it just creates that lower frequency of like shame or guilt or not feeling good enough. And so for a lot of sixes, I think there's just going to be like this need to sort of work on that mindset, maybe work with a mindset coach or something like that, or just whatever calls to you to do. But there's something here about reframing the story that you tell yourself. And yeah, just trying to change the dialogue within your own mind to create a different experience. Okay. So I think that this is going to be sort of a more emotional month for you all and kind of that inner work. But there's also a lot of physical stuff going on as well. So just kind of keep all this in mind. Be really, really gentle with yourself this month. Don't overly commit to things that you don't want to commit to. Don't say yes to the things that you don't want to say yes to. You have the power to do that. It might feel uncomfortable. It might upset people. But at the end of the day, if you can't give what you don't have. So stop trying to give what you don't have and then beat yourself up for not being able to give what you don't have. You see what I'm saying? So I think that that's going to be coming in pretty strongly this month for you all. So it's, again, what you do with the energy that makes the difference. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for listening, sixes. I appreciate you all. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.